I was about to rip open this package and then I thought I might as well film it, but I've just received a new Oracle deck in the post, so I figured I'd film the opening of it, basically. And the piece of paper there, it's an old boarding pass. I'm just covering up my address with it. And this is what's inside. So this Oracle deck will be kind of old hat to some of you. It kind of made a bit of a stir in the community when it was first released as an independent deck by Inner Hue, and it is Connected and Free, the Alchemist's Tarot. So I'm very excited to, it's like the packaging is actually quite beautiful. It's come with a couple of cards. So yeah, this originally was released quite some time ago. But I kind of missed the first edition of this deck. I was just a bit uncertain. Shipping was even more expensive at that point, I think, from Australia. And I was a little bit unsure about it. I was doubtful about it. I was doubtful about getting another Oracle deck because I hadn't really used Oracle decks a whole lot, but I have been using my Gaia Oracle deck more of late, and I just kind of felt like another Oracle deck would be a nice thing to purchase. I also felt when it first came out that it was, to my taste, a little bit too similar to the Wild Unknown. I just kind of felt a little bit wary about the fact that it did seem to be so derivative of the Wild Unknown. But now that she's released the Lumina Tarot, which is kind of, it's different enough from the Wild Unknown that I no longer feel as uncomfortable, I think is what I'm trying to get at. And I figured that this deck would make a lovely companion to the Wild Unknown as well, which I've been using. I've been drawing a card from the Wild Unknown every morning on my altar in my bedroom. I love packages wrapped up in string. And this is the box. It's a nice box, actually. It's again, that got that kind of rustic brown paper kind of feel to it. I'm actually pretty excited to open this now, even though I know every single card in the deck. Like, I've watched enough videos and everything that I'm fully familiar with every card in the deck, so there aren't really going to be any surprises for me with this deck. But you know how it is, sometimes it's a bit different when you actually get it into your own hands, you know? Seeing a deck in person can be quite different than even seeing people in videos kind of going through it. Oh, the book is quite stiff at the moment. Opening it with one hand is quite difficult. Anyway, I won't be looking through the book anytime soon. I don't think. I'm just going to focus on going through the cards myself. And the first card in the deck is that very well-known image of the fox heart. It really is very beautiful. I feel like the cardstock is actually fairly similar to the Wild Unknown. It has that kind of, maybe it's a little bit slipperier. I'll go and get my deck in a second and kind of have a look at what they look like together. The cardstock is definitely not quite as good. It's a little bit thinner, a little bit flimsier. They definitely feel like maybe slightly flimsy cards, but honestly they're quite beautiful. Like, the printing is really, really beautiful, and the cards have this sort of texture, kind of matte texture, which I really, really like. And they are actually even more beautiful in person than I was expecting. The colour is very vivid, very good quality prints. So I'm excited to go through these. I don't think at this point you really need me to go through all the cards, because you're probably quite familiar with this whole deck. You know, a lot of other YouTubers have. Oh, that's beautiful. I don't think I was really familiar with that card. A lot of other YouTubers have made review videos and unboxing videos of this deck, so I don't feel like necessarily going through every single card is going to be necessary. But, you know, I'll just flick through a few. I've come to love a lot of these cards just through seeing them online, seeing them in Instagram posts and watching videos and stuff like that. And the more, I don't know, I think a deck sometimes it becomes part of the wider kind of tarot deck community, like Oracle deck community. It's sort of like, I feel like this deck has sort of invaded my consciousness. And this does happen to me, that it takes a while sometimes for me to decide that I definitely want a particular deck. I need to see it more in context. I need to see more people using it in videos and Instagram posts. And I have to say, this one card, when I saw it, gave me a shock because it evoked a very particular memory for me that I very much associate with endings. So that was quite nice, quite a nice synchronicity. And I love the Hamsa. Some of these cards I do prefer more than others. The darker ones like these, I'm not as keen on. I tend to prefer these kinds of ones. And I know people have mixed feelings as well about the chakra cards in this deck, but I actually quite like the idea of the chakra cards. I think that will actually be quite a nice addition. I love this card, which is on the booklet. But for the most part, I really do love every card. This is one of my favourites though. Having just said that I don't like the darker cards, that is glorious. I feel like most of the cards in this deck, I realised that I do actually really love them. And I do, although that's more like in line with the kind of the style of the darker cards, kind of the darker coloured cards. When I say darker, I mean just colour, not anything more metaphorical or anything. I do love that card as well. This one card does make me a bit uncomfortable because it's so similar to the star card in the Wild Unknown, but it's, you know, it's quite beautiful, and I do prefer the updated version of Strength, which to me is kind of odd. I feel like it's a bit strange for an almost tarot card to make it into the center, into the middle of an oracle deck, but I do love it. I would love it as a Strength card in a tarot deck, actually. Another one I'm not that keen on. Resistance, yeah, mixed feelings about the Resistance card. Yeah, the chakra cards. I do like these. I feel like these will be helpful. Sorry if the video is a bit kind of choppy. I keep sneezing and having to like pause the video, and then my battery keeps dying, so so this is going to be quite a choppy video, I think. I really love the chakra cards. I think they'll be very nice to have, and I might, you know, they're the kinds of cards that I might remove from the deck to work with specifically for whatever reason. And this is, as I'm sure none of you will be surprised by, my favourite card. One of my favourite cards in the deck, possibly my favourite card in the deck. I think it's wonderful, and this is another. But I mean, yeah, I don't think anyone will be surprised that I love this one so much. But I love Standstill. Standstill might have been the card that persuaded me to put this deck on originally on the top of my wish list. But really, yeah, now that I have it in my hands, and I'm kind of going through it, there are fewer cards even than I thought that I wouldn't really like so much. I just grabbed my Wild Unknown for comparison, and I was right. The cardstock is pretty similar, but thicker, kind of sturdier, in my opinion, better in the Wild Unknown. But in terms of texture, they're actually quite similar, which is nice. A little bit, I knew this beforehand, that the Wild Unknown is slightly smaller, so unfortunately not possible to shuffle them together in one deck, but that's not something that bothers me too much. I will likely use these side by side anyway, because they do just fit quite nicely together, in part because of the style of the illustrations, but also just because of the quite animal heavy kind of themes in the Alchemist Oracle. I think fits quite nicely with the Wild Unknown. I am thinking of getting the Wild Unknown, not Wild Unknown, I can't remember what it's called. The same creators made an Oracle deck. I am considering that Oracle deck, but for some reason it just hasn't struck me as much as this one. I'm planning on getting the Lumina Tarot as well whenever that comes back in stock. Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned that at the beginning of the video, that the reason I didn't get it then for quite a while was because they were actually not being printed. She was having issues with the printer, I believe, so they were kind of out of stock for quite a long time. But yeah, I'm really pleased now that I have this deck in my hands. It's been a long time since I've gotten a new deck, because I think the last new deck I got was when JJ sent me the Marielle Tarot, and I have just had so little time on my hands since I moved to Edinburgh that sadly I haven't done half as much work with it as I would like. So I've been holding off on getting myself a new tarot deck until I've really worked with that deck, because that deck is going to be my go-to deck. I just know it. So I'm kind of very, very reluctant to go buying another deck. until, you know, I kind of have done the work that it needs to be done with that deck, that I can start using it on a daily basis. But yeah, so I haven't actually bought a new deck at all, but then I just thought, well, like an Oracle deck is kind of like a loophole for me. I can get myself new Oracle decks while you know, until I get to the point where I feel like I'm ready for a new tarot deck in my life. So this is what I tend to do when I first get a deck. I immediately start sort of drawing cards and doing spreads and stuff. So I just drew 3 random cards, and I kind of immediately get the sense that I will need spreads and spread positions with this deck. I find with my other Oracle decks that, now maybe this is just because I'm not so familiar with the cards yet. I find with other Oracle decks, because they are so kind of, particularly the Gaia Oracle, they're so kind of specific in their message. They have quite a lot of text even on the card itself, that you can kind of just draw a couple of cards and get, kind of draw them together to form a kind of picture together. I'm not articulating that very well, but you know what I mean, that I don't really ever use spreads or card positions with that Oracle deck. But I feel like with this deck that actually would be quite useful. But maybe that's just particularly when you're getting to know a new deck, it can be the easiest way to start to form a relationship with the cards. Whereas over time then, once you've actually bonded with them and formed that relationship and formed those associations, then it's easier to just draw 3 random cards. Yeah, I'll leave it there. Hopefully we'll be making a new video for you guys. I might even make one today, maybe, possibly, or tomorrow. So yeah, do keep tuned. I have a lot of things that I want to talk about. I haven't made videos in a long time. And if you haven't seen it, do go over and check out the website. It's changed a little bit. The design is largely similar now. But I've kind of changed it up a little bit. I've simplified it a bit, and it's now changed from being Heart Story to being Anya Orga. I decided that it was time to let go of Heart Story for the time being. But yeah, for the time being, at least, Heart Story is now defunct, and I'm using Anya Orga, which feels better for me right now, for where I'm at right now. It feels more organic and more comfortable. It fits better, if you know what I mean, for me right now. Yeah, the new website address is anyaorga.com. So it's essentially the same as the old website, just pared back a little. The design changed a little bit. I'm still working on getting it set up to work better on mobile. I'm aware that it's still a bit messy on mobile, but it's just one of those things that, like, when I get the time, I'll work on it, but I just wanted to get it up and finished and done because I was working on it for months on and off. So yeah, do go on over to anyaorga.com, and you know, if you're linking from now on, please do use anyaorga.com. Heartstory.org will redirect, but yeah, do change to using Anya Orga instead. Just one more thing before I end this video. I discovered one last thing in the package, kind of alongside the other cards, like the thank you cards and stuff that came with the deck and with the book, was this, which is, I believe, the 6 of Cups from the Lumina Tarot, and it's kind of like a postcard quality print of the card, which is actually really nice. Quite pleased to have that, because like I can do something with that, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what, but I probably just use it as a bookmark, to be honest. But it's very pretty. And this page of definition. So I don't know if there's a book that comes with the Lumina that has this sort of like definition of the card. So I'll leave it there for the moment. I'll talk to you again soon, guys, probably about something about my something spiritually related, maybe just a random thoughts video or something. And I hope you're all well. And I'll talk to you again soon. Okay, bye guys.